Destination Nightmare, the B-Movie Podcast.
There are some doors that should never be opened. One of them is the door to the Shuttered Room.
I wouldn't take her into that old house, mister. Less'n you want her to end up like this.
The terror begins on the road to the house with the Shuttered Room.
There's no hope for Susannah if she spends even one night in that house.
Do I, detect a threat there somewhere?
Did you feel it?
Feel what?
When you opened that door, it was like I was standing in front of a refrigerator.
The terror is a touch, a sound, a sense of someone watching that stains two people with the secret of what lies in the Shuttered Room and beyond.
Please, let me go. I have to see my husband.
Well, what's wrong with staying right here and passing the time of day with me?
Hey, Chief. That sure is a lovely wife you got there. And you know, I hear tell she's just as pretty all over. You wouldn't happen to know what your wife's doing right now, would you? Hey, maybe Ethan knows what this guy's wife's doing. Or maybe this guy's wife knows what Ethan is doing. Because maybe they're doing the same thing together.
Wait a minute. Let me help you.
Sleep one night in the house with the Shuttered Room, and you may never want to sleep again.
Yep. So this movie we watched this week, was it Straw Dogs? Is that the name of the movie we watched this week?
Kinda. Straw Dogs with a supposedly supernatural twist to it.
Have you ever read this story?
I
know you're
remember.
a Lovecraft fan, but I was wondering.
Yeah, I like Lovecraft. I think I have, but I don't remember it like this.
Yeah. I don't understand why they just take the story and just kind of like change the story around or whatever, you know? It's just like...
Oh. Hollywood writers think they can write better than authors, I guess. I don't know.
This movie is The Shuttered Room. We're a Destination Nightmare B-Movie podcast. I am Al, and I am buddy
Roddy.
here.
Roddy.
The
tech genius.
Yeah, the tech genius, huh? all it took was a flip of a button, buddy, and we're back in business, you know, but it's the way it goes, you know. So, yeah, I just picked this movie because I know you're a Lovecraft fan, and I figured you'd have lots to say about this story, but when I started reading about it, apparently this was like a really, like, some kind of, like, idea that August Derleth took from Lovecraft's writings and kind of fleshed it out. So I think it's more of an August Derleth story than Lovecraft idea, maybe, you know.
They think they then Hollywood took it and
turned it into something else. I don't know.
Further. The Whateleys family, in Lovecraft's stories, the Whateleys family are connected with worshipping ancient and elder gods. And
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And
these people were just a bunch of thugs.
Yeah, these were just a bunch of thugs. You know, it wasn't really like that. I mean, as movies go, it was kind of a creepy, weird movie, but, I mean, nowhere near as
no, the
spooky.
payoff was like, pfft, that's it.
I know. Yeah.
All
And
this
it was
time
more-
you're sitting there waiting for it.
Yeah, you wait for something, and the person or thing in the shuttered room was far less scary than the actual thugs who were terrorizing them.
Yeah, because you see Lovecraft, you see Cthulhu, you all these elder gods. You're thinking, oh man, there's going to be some creepy monster guy in the shuttered room, and then, we'll spoiler alert you, but throughout the whole movie, but but it doesn't turn out to be that. It turns out to be something more realistic, I guess, but less exciting. I mean, it was just, whatever. We'll get to it when we get to it, but. I mean, this movie had a good cast in it, professional. I mean, we sometimes, a lot of times we watch movies with, people who can't really act worth a crap. So everybody in this movie was a pro. And
Very good actor.
And it looked nice. It was shot in England, pretending to be Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Oliver Reed, playing his usual thug role, and very good at it too,
Yes, very good. He's a good actor. He's underrated, but he's a good actor. I think in part because of the roles he chose.
Yeah, always rough guy, but he looks kind of rough, That scar on his chin there, those eyes, those mean. He looks mean. He looks like a mean dude, but I'm sure he was. I mean, he was a drunk, but so was everybody else in Hollywood, including Gig Young, who apparently was a real bad drunk. And you know what happened to him, right? Supposedly he murdered his wife and committed suicide.
Yeah. Oh wow. I know he committed suicide. I didn't know he
murdered his wife too. Like right after they got married or something. Apparently he was an even worse drunk than Reed was. I was just doing a little bit of research, and I noticed that I read that he was actually hired to be Gene Wilder's role in Blazing Saddles, but on the first day he showed up so drunk he passed out. And Mel Brooks fired him. He was going to be the Waco Kid, in Blazing Saddles. That's how bad he was. And he continued, like, throughout 77, but there was readings. There's some other job that he lost because he was, like, drunk on his butt and he couldn't handle it. Real bad alky, real bad,
He's a good actor.
Academy Award winner, Unfortunately, he seems miscast here as the elderly kung fu husband of Carol Lindley, And when I started seeing him do the kung fu, I was like, "Woo, wow, early."
You tell guys who don't know kung fu because they always hold their hands just like this, just the flat, so you hit them with the edge of the hand.
Very early martial arts movie, I mean, it was before Fist of Fury and all that. Gig Young was the man. He was the. That was just so weird seeing him like kicking Oliver Reed around and all these other guys, or four guys. It's kind of like it reminded me of Barnaby Jones, beating up thugs, or Cannon.
Then you see the stunt double come in who looks nothing like him. Start jumping and leaping and kicking around.
Yeah. That scene where the four guys attack him. He's like on the ground. You see a couple of them. The punches are missing about a mile away. But hey, whatever. I gotta say, it's not a bad movie. It's a well-produced movie, a well-acted movie, nicely shot. But I just found it. I was disappointed. And I had a couple of friends who thought.
Yeah, you expected
something.
I was gonna say you expected something
monstrous
along the lines of a more horror or.
And it was more psychological.
Thriller or drama.
And it was like just kind of like. I mean, there were supernatural overtones, but they were all kind of like, everybody was just telling you they were. It was just kind of like. I don't know. Well, anyway, it's I don't know how to explain it. Again, friends of mine saw it when they were a kid and they thought it was a great movie, and I never saw it as a kid. I think it's an okay movie. I didn't find anything scary in it.
But when you hear Lovecraft, expect something creepy or weird or bizarre, like rats with human faces or
a demon coming
like
out.
Weird. Yeah, it was like satanic.
Give me a monster there or
This is
something.
Oliver Reed was scarier than the real monster.
That eagle was scarier than the real monster. I mean, the old lady, the old Agatha Whateleys or whatever her name was, she was scarier than the monster. The monster was just kind of like some bedraggled weirdo that could be somebody running around this neighborhood here for lack of a better, the monster looked like a homeless woman, basically like a crazed homeless woman, on meth.
Yeah.
Sorry, spoiler alert after the fact, you know what I mean? But anyway, it's a decent looking movie. I mean, it's shot in England, and Carol Lindley's pretty to look at, and I mean, it's anyway. So it starts off with like Gig Young, who's like 40, like at least 25 years older than her. She's like 21 in the movie, and he's like in his 40s.
Yeah, she just turned 21. He's much older. They're driving to the home she was born in, which is on an island off Massachusetts coastline. And her parents died, and when she turned 21, she got left the house.
And in the beginning,
so they get up there.
But in the beginning, there's that one scene where, like, the parents are in bed, and they put the little girl to bed, and she's saying her prayers, and then like something gets out, and does it kill the parents, or does it? Because she got sent to an orphanage.
It implied. Yeah, it implied. In the movie, seemed to imply that they were killed by the thing that got out of the room, the shuttered room.
Because the dad took the thing back to the room. The thing in the shuttered room like got to the mom, but the dad was able to put it back in the room.
Yeah, later on in the movie, they said her parents were killed by lightning or struck by lightning.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So, yeah, that part was a bit confusing. Yeah, so it starts with the girl. She's saying her prayers, and she gets put in bed, and something gets out of her room, and you hear from the thing's point of view, it's sees the parents sleeping, and goes to the little girl, and she wakes up screaming, and then the parents, like you said, the dad puts the thing in the shuttered room, and then the movie starts, and then you see Gig Young and Carol Lindley driving to the island, because she's 21, she inherited the ancestral house, and they're going to turn it into a summer home. They're in the middle of friggin' nowhere, and to get to the island, you have to get on this rickety little
like a ferry
that holds only one car, and it lists to one side, and it's like, why would you turn that into a summer home? Because the whole place is a wreck, it's a shambles.
I mean, it looks
to get
cool.
To the island, people. Yeah, for a horror movie.
For a horror movie,
For a horror movie.
Yeah.
So they get to the island, and all the locals are
they're all
standoffish, and
you know what it reminds me?
Don't want anything to do with it.
It reminds me of a lot of those movies that came out afterwards, or maybe there was some before, of like Northerners going to the South and finding like animosity, but this was Northerners going to the North and find country. It was city versus country stuff, you know what I mean? That kind of, and that's real. I mean, that's still going on today. You know what I mean? Trust me.
Northerners and Southerners and stuff. Yeah.
Trust me, I live in a rednecky place.
So
Trust me.
They get to they look for Zebulon
Whateleys or
Whately, whatever. And they're saying that we're looking for the Whateleys mill, and he tries to warn them off.
They're driving, and as they're driving to like on a one-lane road, all of a sudden you get to see Oliver Reed and his thuggish buddies like bumping into their car and knocking their car off the side, and then basically what they're doing is like they're doing some kind of land surfing. They're a bunch of guys. Reed and his pals are like in the car, and some guys like land surfing or something. You know, and he kind of flies out, and he's hurt. And then Gig Young stops to, you know, talk to them and go, "Do you know where the house is?" And you know, then you see Oliver Reed in like a nice close up of his mean face, and he's eyeballing Lindley or whatever, you know, he's pulling all the stops, you know what I mean? And then he tells them where it's at and all that. And then they go to the town, like you said, and they're looking for Zebulon Whately, which is, I guess, her uncle or something like that. And then that's when they...
Yeah, it's her uncle.
And that's when they start warning them about not going there.
Yeah, the curse of the Whatley curse.
And you know what I read too, that the guy Zebulon, you're the Zebulon guy, you know that his voice is mouthed by Donald Sutherland, which is weird.
Is it really?
That's what I was reading on IMDb. The old guy who plays Zebulon, maybe he couldn't do an American accent. Maybe he was a Brit because it was shot in Britain. Maybe Donald Sutherland mouthed his voice. Weird. That's weird.
Wow.
Anyway, I know Sutherland was in England. He was making movies in Europe at the time, so. But anyway, they warn them, and then the other guy, his son or whatever, he goes, "This could happen to you if you go there." And he pulls off his welder's mask, and you see his eye pop out.
Got one eye, like a scar.
Yeah.
Like a bristle and stuff.
Like something poked his eye out.
They go anyway, and it's a real dusty old house. So they're cleaning up. And trying to get clean, and she keeps having weird feelings about the place, and she's not happy with going there. So
they're there, like
Oliver Reed.
He's following them. He's watching them.
Yeah, he's watching them. He hears that they're going to the old mill, and he freaks out and he runs. You see a lot of running, and he gets to an old lighthouse, and Agatha's up there, who's Carol Lindley's there. Because Oliver Reed and Carol Lindley are cousins. So Aunt Agatha is up there, and he says, "I thought you said the mill was mine." And she said, "Well, it is someday, you know, like when I die." She says, "But there's a new couple in town, and she and
yeah, he got her name. He told her name. Yeah. His name. What was
and she's like, "She's back. She's back." So then Gig Young and Carol Lindley are in the house, and they're looking around, and they're cleaning. And they get spooked because they keep hearing all the things about the curse. So then they laughing, and Oliver Reed is watching them kiss from the window. So he knocks on the window, and he says, "Aunt Sarah wants to see you." Oh, Aunt Agatha.
Agatha, yeah.
Like, "Oh, Aunt Agatha." He goes, "You have to come. You can't drive there. You have to walk." So he's taking them over this really circuitous route, climbing. She's ripping her stockings, and he's falling and slipping. So they finally get to Aunt Agatha, and that's when as they get in, they walk upstairs. Oliver Reed went ahead of them, and he's there, and he's messing around with some cleaning girl or whatever.
Yeah, she's the only young woman. She's the only other young woman in town, I guess. Or the sluttiest young woman in town or whatever. And she's really into like Carol Lindley's like stockings too.
Stockings.
How much did those cost?
Yeah, she's like, $10, $5 a leg.
Yeah, right.
So, and Agatha comes down and she gives everybody the stink eye, and telling them that you better take her back because there's a curse on the island, and you need to leave. Yeah, you're getting
like, all this. You're getting all this like build up. This like, oh my God, when she comes back, all hell's gonna break loose. You know, the demons are gonna be unleashed, and the whole town's gonna be like engulfed by monstrous beings. Yeah, okay. They just want her to get out of there.
Yeah, and Gig Young keeps saying, "Well, we're thinking of turning this into a summer house," and it's a wrecked mill. Things are falling down, and there's like floors are broken, and there's holes in the floor.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you think of turning this into and it's in the middle of nowhere, really.
You have to
So
get
he goes-
you have to get on a ferry, and you gotta like
Yeah.
on one lane roads, and thugs knocking your car off the road, and
It's not a ferry like you would think. It's a wooden platform that holds only one car that lists to one side, and it takes you it goes like about 5 miles across the water to the island, and I don't.
yeah, and then when you
So
get
anyway.
and then when you get there, all that happens is Oliver Reed wants to hump your wife. You know, I mean, what the hell you want to go there for?
Well, it is a tourist spot.
Yeah. Okay.
So they go back to the house, and Gig Young is like, they start cleaning up, and they're like, oh, we're not going to believe this curse. So they leave Carol. He leaves Carol Lindley alone to get some food, and then
there was that scene where Carol Lindley's sitting there taking her clothes up, and you see like Oliver Reed's eyeball in the.
yeah, he's peeking through, and she's sitting like right next to him, and you can see his eyeball peeking through and stuff. So then she starts cleaning and slapping things with a broom, and she goes upstairs to investigate, and she starts pulling on this chain, and it's attached to something, and she kind of gets freaked out because the thing in the shuttered room is manacled by a chain. So
So Reed comes in. She decides she's going to go out for a walk.
Yeah, she's going to go out for a walk.
And then when she goes
we
out
don't know that. Big Young comes back. Yeah, she goes
out for a walk.
Big Young comes back,
and the thugs start following her.
Yeah, he comes back with food, and the house is empty. He can't find her, so he calls upstairs. He goes to walk up the stairs, and he sees there's blood on the banister, and it turns out the drunk guy who
that's right
was doing the surfing, and he fell and cut himself. That was his blood. He's like, "Is your pretty wife here?" So Gig Young throws him out, and he goes looking for his wife. In the meantime, you find out she had gone for a walk, and all of their thugs are with that pretty maid, and they're all like, he's like slowly undressing her and kissing her, and all the other guys are watching. And then,
well, at some point they start going after Carol Lindley.
Yeah, she walks by, and then Carol Lindley sees them and just keeps walking. So then all the guys start following her and start chasing her, and then she like runs onto a pier, and then Oliver Reed comes after, and he smells her ear, okay, or licks her, kisses her ear or something.
Right.
Then Gig Young comes along, and
Kung Fu Gig
calls her name. Yeah, and she comes walking, and then Oliver Reed goes, "Hey, hey, New York, your wife's ear tastes real good." The Gig Young, what are you going to do about it? The Gig Young goes over to him, and then Oliver Reed goes to throw a punch, and he ducks, karate chops him, and then
he tries another one.
He throws another one, and then Gig Young does another karate chop and tosses him in the muddy water. And then he collects Carol Lindley, and they go back to the house.
Yeah, that really was believable. Gig and all his moves or whatever. He was like the Chuck Norris of Lovecraft movies. Or more of maybe Seagal. Maybe he was doing that kind of Seagal, those Seagal moves,
Yes.
Seagal moves. Anyway, so they go back to the house or whatever, and then they is that when they're going to sleep that night, and the girl comes in to steal the stockings, and she gets killed?
Yes, that's right. They go to sleep, and he's sleeping, and then the maid, she sneaks in and the car's outside, so she sneaks into the car.
No, was she the maid, or was she just a slutty girl in the neighborhood?
Well, I think she was like the maid to Aunt
She
Agatha.
Yeah, okay, yeah, right. Aunt Agatha,
So
yeah.
she breaks into the car. Well, it was open. She sneaks into the car, and she steals a package of Carol Lindley's
Stockings.
stockings.
But the alarm goes off, and she hides.
She leans against. Apparently, early on in the movie, you see the car horn get stuck. So she leans against the car horn, and it starts blaring. So she runs out, and she runs into another section of the mill, and she tries them on, and she's like admiring herself and her legs. And then you hear this thing breathing and coming downstairs and watching her, and then she's laying there all happy, and then suddenly she looks up in horror, and then you hear this like slashing sound, and then you see her face with all the fake blood on it, and she's laying there. And then Gig Young,
he comes downstairs to look and see what happened.
Yeah, and he looks around, and while the girl's being killed, the car horn is blaring, so he turns off the car horn, and he listens like, did I hear something else? No, all right. He goes back to bed. And then, for some reason, Agatha's out at night with the hawk, because she's a falconer. She's got these big gloves. Yeah, she has a hawk. We forgot about that.
Yeah, the hawk in the house. They visit the house, and the hawk's there, and he starts asking questions about it.
Yeah. So she's there with the hawk, and I forget why she goes into the barn area where the maid was killed, and she covers it up. And she sees the she hears the thing in the shuttered room. So you can see it from the thing's point of view. She slowly coaxes her back upstairs.
That's right.
The chain dragging, and then she puts it on the bed, and she mimics like laying down to sleep. So you see the thing, the camera.
The point of view. Yeah.
So then she goes downstairs, and then you see the thing like grab at the chain, and like. So then, and Agatha then goes checking on the couple to make sure they're safe. She's like, oh, thank God, and she accidentally drops one of her falcon gloves. So the next day, Gig Young says, I suppose you have an explanation for this. And she's like, oh, well, there's no such thing, something like, oh, I told you the curse was bad. And he goes, well, you know what, you're too smart a woman to believe in the curse. She's like, oh, I know, because I made the curse up. He says, why did you make the curse up? Keep everybody away from the mill and all the tragedy that happened there and stuff. So then, in the meantime, Oliver Reed goes to the farm, and he starts harassing and chasing Carol Lindley. And,
yeah, that's right. And that's when she does that one scene where she like, oh, you want me? Here I am. And she takes the top off, and he like flips, and he just like freezes or whatever.
Yeah, he doesn't know what to do. And he freezes. And in the meantime, Gig Young is driving back from Aunt Agatha's, and he picks up one of the thugs. He says, hey, could you give me a lift? Sure. So then as he's driving...
And the thugs have no New England accent whatsoever.
No. So
they might as well have done British accents, I mean, really.
He's driving, and their truck is blocking the road, so he gets out to look, and then the thugs all attack him, and he's all karate chopping them.
And they throw a net over him or something.
Yeah, they throw a net over him, tie him up, and they're playing what they call chicken. They drive up, they drive far away in this car, and they drive up real fast and then skid to a stop because he's laying there helpless. So they do it a second time. And they drive far away down the road, and then they speed up and then hit the brakes while he's, and he's working himself loose. So the third time he gets up.
Because he's also a MacGyver, Gig.
Yeah, yes. He gets up, and then they all start jumping on him, and he's karate chopping him here and there and attacking all the four guys. Now he's like 40 and decrepit, and they're like in their 20s, or supposedly.
And he's Bruce Lee in them all.
Yeah, right. So then he knocks them all out. He jumps in the car and drives away to rescue Carol Lindley. because the thugs told him Oliver Reed's going to have his way with. He's chasing Carol Lindley. She runs into the old barn, and that's where she discovers running up to the attic to hide from Oliver Reed. I'm guessing because she thinks Oliver Reed killed the girl.
Mm-hmm.
So Oliver Reed goes running upstairs looking for her, and she's hiding somewhere. And he hears a noise, and he thinks it's Carol Lindley. So he goes looking for her, and suddenly the thing in the shuttered room attacks him and starts scratching his face with its claws. And he's backing up. He can't see really well, and all he sees is a blurry vision of a woman thinking it's her. So he starts screaming at her, and then he goes to attack her, and she attacks, or the thing attacks him and scratching him, and he's backing up. He gets wrapped up in the chain somehow. He trips and falls through a hole in the floor. And he dies. Boom. And then then Carol Lindley gets up, and that's when you see the thing for the first time. And it's just a girl in a bedraggled dress with a chain on her, which is manacled, but with a chain on her wrist. And then Gig Young comes running upstairs and sees her and goes, yes, it's your sister. She's like, Carol Lindley's all freaky. So he, in the meantime, as Oliver Reed was thrashing about, he knocked over. He had lit a teddy bear on fire, and he had dropped it, and it started burning the thing. So Gig Young takes Carol Lindley out because he didn't see the fire, and then the thing, who's Carol Lindley's sister, sees the fire burning, and she starts acting freaky. But I guess Carol Lindley has a psychic link to the thing. She starts mimicking the actions of the sister, and then and Agatha comes up. Gig Young sees the fire, and then Agatha comes up, and he goes to Agatha, says, "Quick, give me the key." So Gig Young goes running into the house. He's fighting with the sister, and he manages to take off her manacles, and then he's wrestling her, trying to get her out of the house so she doesn't burn to death. And then Agatha comes in and goes, "Let me take her and help her. I can control her. You can't. Lead the way through the smoke." So as Gig Young starts walking downstairs, and Agatha spirits the girl up into the shuttered room and closes the door. And James says, "Let me out. Let me in. Come on, you can't stay here." And Agatha's like, "Oh, it's better it goes this way," or whatever, some philosophical speech. And then you see fire engulf the room. So then Gig Young and Carol Lindley, Gig Young comes out, picks up Carol Lindley, and they walk away, and you see the house, the mill in flames. The end.
I didn't even want to talk because I don't want this thing to freak out again, you know what I mean? This is like the third time we've tried to finish this show, so I just kept my mouth shut. I'll let you talk. I guess you said there's some rain there. There's not any, I don't know if it's rain, it might be raining out here, I don't know. But yeah, we're getting some weird, this never happened before, we're getting some weird weather or whatever, so. Yeah, an okay movie. You know. Yeah,
supposedly the build-up was supposed to be the supernatural horror thing. And it was just Carol Lindley's sister, who was, I guess, mentally unstable and violent, and just kept locked in a crappy room with apparently holes in the floor. And, her claws or her talons were actually just the nails that were grown long.
Because there was one shot earlier where you just saw the hand, and it looked like it was a claw, like a beast, but it was just really her all messed up. And
she was dirty. Yeah, and Agatha supposedly was taking care of her. But you think she would have put her in a home or something, rather than locking her in an attic to get all dirty and chained. And
there was it's almost like, what was the movie that I watched not that long ago, which had a similar theme of Jane Eyre? You know this? You ever seen the movie Jane Eyre?
Yeah.
Didn't he have some wife that went loony and she was locked up in a room?
That was Wuthering Heights?
Or was it? No, it was the one I
I think
was.
it was a couple movies. Yeah, there was one where the guy married a woman who went insane, and he locked her in a room, and
Yeah,
then
and
he
then
fell
he-
in love with another woman.
And then he fell in love with the nanny, which was Jane Eyre, which was Joan Fontaine. I'm pretty sure that was the one. I know I watched it like not long ago,
Probably.
and it was like a real gothic. It was almost like a horror movie or whatever. So I think it's kind of like a little bit of that too, you know.
Yeah.
I
I
think
think
it was,
though with the Lovecraft stuff, Lovecraft's parents were both went insane or mad or whatever. Like his mother
Okay.
died in an asylum. I think his father did too. I'm not sure.
And didn't he die from VD
Yeah,
or
and then
something?
he was raised. No, he died of malnutrition
He did.
because he was poor. He wasn't really famous during his lifetime. He ate really poor. I think he ate like beans and toast as his only meal.
Wow.
So yeah, he was yeah.
I heard okay, well there you go. There's another myth. I heard he had died of some venereal disease, but it was malnutrition. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if he had sex. He was raised by his maiden aunts in part. He was always afraid of going insane.
Mm.
And they were very, very snooty about, who, like, good people and bad people. They really screwed him up, bringing him up. And he had a lot of odd, extreme opinions about things and stuff. So.
Yeah, I thought that.
But it was
I thought he was
great
from.
writer.
I thought he was from Money, but I guess I don't know much about. I just remember what I read. Well, wasn't okay. Well, maybe it was Robert Howard, who. They had weird lives, the two of them, didn't they?
Yeah, Robert E. Howard shot himself after his mother died.
Yeah.
And early on the people lived weird lives. But I can remember back in the 60s and 70s, I guess when this movie was made.
67.
If you had somebody who had some kind of mental health disease or something, it was like a big family secret and shocking. And if you spent time, my God, if you went to a therapist, there was like something wrong with you, and you were to be shunned by the family. Like, I think it's back then, even back was it like 50 or so years ago, having some kind of mental health issue was a bigger horror than it is now. Because now I think everybody's on some kind of Prozac.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, because now everybody's nuts. Now you can't tell the difference. Now the normal man is crazy, But anyway,
Exactly.
That's a whole different story for another show. I was disappointed in this movie. I have friends who like it a lot, and I was looking forward to it, and I just kind of thought it was the downer. The ending was a letdown. I had seen enough of it that I knew there was the Straw Dogs element before Straw Dogs, so I knew that was in the movie, and I actually had seen a good chunk of it and before and got bored, but I figured, well, let me this time I'll get to the ending and then it'll really pay off, and it sure as hell didn't. But a lot of people like this movie, so I don't know. I just think it's average at best, but it was cool to watch,
Yeah, it's an average TV movie that was released.
Yeah, theatrically.
In the theaters. And I think it was more a thriller than a supernatural horror.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what Lovecraft is.
Yeah, it was more of a thriller than anything else. That's exactly right. It wasn't really a supernatural horror movie, even though it kind of teased you a lot into thinking that the creepiness of the lighthouse and the mansion and all the weird guys and gals and the whatever but Gig Young was miscast and Carol Lindley was fine. Oliver Reed was pretty good. Everybody else was all right. Gig Young was like, couldn't they have gotten somebody else somebody younger to play that role? I don't know what the deal was, but
Although maybe the young wife, older husband, they could have actually played that up more, where he couldn't have taken care of her.
Yeah.
And
something.
That she'd be more alone to fend for herself, or whatever.
All right. Well, it was a good movie. It was all right. It was. I'll give it a little bit above average, a little bit, just because it was well shot. They could have cut 20 minutes out of this movie and made it, a little more effective. Yeah. Yeah, maybe cut a storyline out, maybe, or something. I don't know, or get to the point quicker. Whatever. But
yeah, even make the instead of making the young guys the main villains, make the Thing the main villain. Continually escaping and killing people, and maybe instead of making her just crazy, make her deformed.
Yeah,
I think
something.
it was trying to be a little too intellectual for a horror movie or whatever it was.
Yeah. Oh well. But it's worth checking out. I mean, it's not on DVD where it was. I don't know if it's available anymore, but I have it on a double feature that I got a long time ago with another movie called It. I think it's double feature with It with Roddy McDowall. So
yeah, with It, Roddy McDowall, who does the Golem.
The Golem movie. Yeah. That's it, exactly.
That one was creepier because that's sort of like a monster, like a what's that movie with Anthony Perkins, who does in the Dead Mother?
Psycho.
Janet Leigh.
Psycho.
Kind of like Psycho with a monster running around in it too.
Is it really? You remember? You watched it when you were a kid?
Yeah, I remember seeing it. The Golem looked weird, but okay. And then I don't remember much of it, but I remember the monster didn't look too great, but it went around killing people, so that was all right.
No, let's watch it.
And then there was the Dead Mother.
Let's watch it next, then. Why not? You remember it?
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, I'll find it.
Might as well.
I'll find a copy of it somewhere. Yeah, let's watch it then, because you remembered it as a kid and you kind of liked it. And on the double feature.
Well, I like.
No, go ahead.
Double feature. I like Roddy McDowall. He's a good actor, and since he was in Planet of the Apes, he became one of my favorite actors. Because I love that movie, Planet of the Apes.
I saw it when I was a little kid at the theater with my mom. They played on a local channel, one of those over-the-air channels, 4 of them in a row, except they didn't play the first one. They played Beneath through Battle. They didn't play the first one. Maybe they don't have the rights to it or something, but it was weird, Why would you start at the second one? But okay, whatever. Yeah. They played a whole marathon of them. I recorded them. I watched a little bit of, I mean, they're cool, but they're silly at the same time too. But they're fun.
The first one was good. Second one, I was disappointed even as a kid.
Right.
And then the third one was
Escape.
Escape.
The third one was that the apes were able to get to Earth, and then they come in Earth, and then they get found out.
Yeah.
But then they got killed. But the kid, their son lives, and then in the fourth one, Conquest, the apes are already like on Earth, and they're kind of dumb, but he's a smart one, and then blah blah blah. It all works in a circular pattern.
The apes are being trained to
servants.
To be servants. He rises up. That one I liked. And then what was the fifth one?
Battle for the planet.
There was Planet of the Apes, Beneath.
Battle
Escape,
for the Planet of the Apes.
and Battle.
Yeah. That was just like that's kind of the ending is setting up for the first one or whatever, But yeah.
Circular.
Yeah. That's what was cool about it. It ended up being kind of a circular thing or whatever. But yeah, Roddy McDowall, he was also in The Legend of Hell House. That's paranormal. That was good. And he was in a bunch of them, but he did a lot of TV too. But yeah. I'm thinking he was in another one. It was like a murder or horror comedy called Arthur. Was it Arthur? No, it was. Oh God, it was with Stella Stevens. I can't remember the name of it. But I remember watching, and she was really hot, and I can't remember what the name of it was. It was a one-name movie, but I think Roddy McDowall was.
Yeah.
I think Roddy McDowall was in it too.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have to look it up?
Yeah, we'll have to look it up.
Whatever, it
The
doesn't
great
matter.
Movie, encyclopedias that we are.
Well, in my case, in my defense, like the old guy that I am, I'm forgetful. But hey, at least I remembered, at least I remember some stuff. Let me see.
I put my pants on the right way today.
Well, sometimes. Let me look up Stella Stevens here. It's bothering me now. It's a one-word name. Like, it's not Arthur, because Arthur is the one with Dudley Moore, where he's like the happy drunk or whatever. It's not Arthur. It's let's see, Stella Stevens Wikipedia here. That's what old guys like me need to sound like they know what they're doing here. Arnold. It's called Arnold. It's not Arthur. Close, but it's Arnold. Yeah, that was the one. Yeah, Arnold. Yeah. So anyway, before the connection goes away again, since it did like 3 or 4 times, there must have been a real bad rainstorm here or there that was affecting it.
Here or there, yeah, you cut in with the, I don't know, I guess the signal to the Wi-Fi or whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll be back with what was it? It is the one we're doing next, right? The Roddy McDowall. That's our next. Our next classic. It's the same DVD, so I don't think I have the DVD here, but I'll figure out a way to get it. But anyway, yeah. So in the meantime, while you're out there listening to the show and you need to watch more B-movies,
I'm looking for some action.
What do you mean, action?
What do you mean, action? Well, I mean a place where you can drag race, find true love, and outrun the law. I mean the original cruise street. I mean VNB, Van Nuys Boulevard.
Yeah, the greatest cruising in the land takes place on the street where it all began.
Van Nuys Boulevard.
A Crown International picture.
Rated R.
Motion picture that proves they're coming to get you. You. They exist. They're coming to get you. They bear the mark of the devil inside them. They're coming to get you. They may be your wife, husband, sweetheart. They're coming to get you. They may even be your children. They're coming to get you. They cannot be exorcised. They're coming to get you. The Book of Doomsday foretold they're coming. This is their time. You prepared for the motion picture that proves they're coming to get you. Rated R, under 17, not admitted without parent, from Independent International.